Hey, so we're going to talk about this real fear that stops men from any commitment towards you. And I know this can be a little bit painful, but bear with me. I think this will make a huge difference in your life. So many of you recognize that men will approach you from the perspective of the desiring of companionship, the desiring of connection, the desiring of physical intimacy, also known as sex. But what about commitment? Well, this is a big topic to discuss because these days we see so many couples experiencing casual relationships and not serious relationships. And we're going to go through several layers of commitment to determine if you're, in fact, in a serious relationship. So let's look at these levels of commitment. And why do so many people find themselves in casual relationships, sometimes feeling used because it's not reaching a level of growth, a level of seriousness, a level of genuine commitment? So the three levels of commitment, a commitment, according to a book I'm about to write, and can't give you the title yet of the book. The three levels of commitment: level one is monogamy and exclusivity. Now, a lot of people, when they're in the beginning phases of dating and they are going to form a sexual relationship with one another, I would say it's fairly safe to say, and I think it's fairly safe to or desire a level of monogamy and exclusivity. I think if you haven't agreed to monogamy and exclusivity before you're physically intimate, then you better make sure of it after you're physically intimate, because monogamy is basically agreeing to only sleep with one person at a time. And technically, you can have sex with someone on the first date and never see them again, so they don't have to commit to monogamy. But certainly, if you're going to have regular sex, you commit to monogamy. Why do we commit to exclusivity? Because it's not very much fun to be having physical intimacy with someone only to find out that they're actively still seeking somebody else in their life. So exclusivity basically means agreeing to exploring a relationship together. But what is a relationship? See, we can use the word relationship, but what does that mean? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to the person that you're dating? But more importantly, what does commitment mean? Well, the agreement for monogamy exclusivity is one layer of commitment. Another layer of commitment is what I call teammates. Teammates. In other words, you are beginning to blend your lives together. You're beginning to merge your lives together. You're beginning to integrate your lives together in a teammate fashion. Now, I'll be candid with you. Very few relationships ever reach this point of teammates because they find themselves in a casual relationship. They just find themselves in the entertainment of a relationship, all the good experiences of the relationship. See, and it's certainly understandable because a lot of people in midlife, and that's the demographic I speak to, which I say midlife is after baby making years and before retirement. So a lot of people in this age demographic are rather gun shy of any serious commitment. Roughly about 75% of singles over 45 years old are divorced. And I will tell you that divorce is a pretty radically traumatic experience that causes many people to be gun shy. But in a few minutes, I'm going to tell you about one gigantic reason why so many men at midlife are gun shy about all serious commitment, serious commitment. So let's come back to, we notice most people find themselves at level one of commitment. They'll agree to monogamy exclusivity, but they aren't actively integrating into each other's lives. This is where, hey, I need a ride to the airport. Will you take me to the airport? Hey, we've got a big party to go to tonight, and I forgot to pick up my dry cleaning. Will you go do that? Maybe teamwork is how you do chores when you're staying at each other's home. Maybe it's how you cook together. Maybe it's taking turns planning and paying for dates. Whatever teamwork means to you, reaching the second level of commitment starts moving you forward into some level of seriousness. And I said in a few minutes ago, the vast majority of couples today find themselves in a casual relationship, not a serious relationship. But the third level of commitment, this is once you've integrated into each other's lives. It's It's that space of merging with one another. It's a space of building teamwork, is reaching a level of all in. There's a reason why the wedding vow says for richer, for poorer, sickness and health. It's a level of all in. I am all in. I am going to take care of you. Take care of you. So we're going to dive into that in a second, but I want to address something really quickly that I've seen in TikTok videos. And this is an area that so many men are sensitive of, even before you ever go on a first date, because this narrative is being pumped into the social media airwaves. And no wonder men are sensitive to the following. But there are a group of people out there sharing with women that a high value man must have the 3 6s, the 3 6s. Now, I don't mean this from a biblical sense, as in the movie The Omen, but the 3 6s stand for 6 foot tall, 6-figure income, and 6-inch penis. That's what the 3 6s represent. And this is a very sensitive subject to men, given that, less than 15% of the male population is over 6 feet tall. And less than 20% of the population makes over 6 figures. And the fact is, the average penis size is about 5.5 inches. So right there, a significant percentage of men are not meeting the minimum threshold women are being told out in the dating marketplace. And we have a significant number of men who feel disheartened by what they witness out there. And I'm just here to say that men are rather sensitive to this. And it's one of the reasons why a lot of young men in particular are not even putting themselves in the dating marketplace, because they aren't going to measure up to the expectations out there. A friend of mine once said, his quote is, "Expectations is the mother of disaster, and desperation is her twin sister." Sadly, we have some ridiculous expectations on certain, and yet it's understandable why some people might want them. But the whole of a person is much more than these 3 6s. And yet one of the 3 6s that I mentioned requires some attention. So I want to share the story of a dear friend of mine who has been in a relationship for 10 years. And it's not casual. It's a serious relationship. They operate as teammates with one another. But his girlfriend brought up, wanted to end the relationship because it's not going to the next level of all in. And he shared with me this fear, and this fear is a fear represented by so many men out in the dating marketplace. And the fear is, in his particular case, he doesn't own a home. He doesn't have enough money to retire. And by the way, he's 60 years old. I should point this out. He doesn't own a home. He doesn't have money to retire, or doesn't have enough money to retire. And he feels that he's going to have to work until he dies. He's going to have to work until he dies. And he was very candid with me, saying, I don't feel I can financially support another person. And I will tell you that a significant number of men feel exactly the same way. I can raise my hand and feel the exact same way. See, all in means I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to take care of you. And to some degree, this one particular gigantic fear is I don't have the resources to take care of you. And this is felt by so many men. And as I said earlier, less than 80% or less than 20% of the population makes 6 figures. Less than 20% of the population has 1 year in savings should they lose their job. Do you realize that 80% of people live paycheck to paycheck? 80% of the population doesn't have the financial resources to support themselves. Now, let me reframe that. They might have the resources to support themselves, but don't have the resources to support another person. And so I want to just draw attention to this legitimate fear of why many men might not be able to reach that point of being what has been affectionately known as the provider protector. So it's no wonder, because very few couples actually talk about money in the dating process. So it's coincidental that I was speaking to an old client of mine today, someone I've known for 14 years. And she was telling me the story about a man that she went out with or has gone out with a few times. Now, she did a background check on him. And before the background or during the background check, she found out that he had a bankruptcy and, or actually 2 bankruptcies. So she was rather concerned. But what floored me is what he said to initiate their first date. Okay. Now he's unaware that she knows this about him. Let me repeat that. He's unaware she knows this about him, but he stated the following to her, which I thought was rather fascinating. And he said, I would like to start our getting to know you. And they spent a number of hours on the phone speaking because there's a little bit of distance involved between them. I don't know exactly, a few hours of distance. He happens to live right next door to her sister, or not next door, but relatively close, but a few hours away. So they spent quite a bit of time talking on the phone. And during the conversation, he said, I would like to start getting to know you by we put each other in the friend zone. We put each other in the friend zone, meaning we start this relationship as friends. And within that dynamic, we split the cost of seeing each other in the early stages as we are building trust with one another, as we get to know one another. And what's interesting is she agreed because he was very sincere in the way he brought this up. And so now keep in mind, she knows that he had a bankruptcy in his past, okay? But he started the conversation, let's start off as friends and let's split everything. Now, there was a reason for this, and she asked him on the second date. And he shared the story of losing his money in the market crash of 2008. And during that time, he had to reorganize and he went through bankruptcy. And then during that time, he was going through a divorce shortly thereafter. Did I say he had 2 bankruptcies? Maybe it's 1. I can't remember. Now please forgive me. I don't know why I had 2 in my head, but he was going through a divorce and there was also some financial issues that came about. And when he shared this from a very sincere place, when he shared how he's been rebuilding his life and he's been putting money away for retirement. So he actually has a retirement fund. And this is a man in his early 50s, I believe. She understood where he was coming from. She was able to recognize like his idea of let's build trust with one another before we get into the romantic level of the relationship, so he could share something that was very sensitive to him related to money, because he's hyper aware that this is a gigantic stumbling block in relationships. Do you realize that roughly 50% of all divorces cite money as one of the primary problems? And since we have this grand expectation that men are the provider protector, since we have this grand expectation that men are supposed to pay for the entire process of getting to know you, he wanted to be very upfront with her. And he made this request. Now, she didn't have to agree. I suspect, and he even openly admitted some women didn't agree to this for the reasons he laid out. But what she appreciated most about him, he was sincere. He was honest. He was speaking his truth. And he's feeling rather bit of shame around this. You see, a lot of men feel shame in this area of not having the financial resources to be able to fully take care of someone. And I can speak from personal experience. In fact, when she was sharing the story about him, I mirrored a lot of that experience. Folks, I went through a gigantic emotional crisis almost 20 years ago when I lost my high-end corporate job and I got wiped out in the market crash of 2008 and 9. And I can tell you that I've had to spend the last 15 years rebuilding my life. And I'm not where I would have been had the market crash not happened. I would not be in the same place. Actually, I wouldn't be in this place of self-development. So for me, it was a blessing. But why I'm sharing this with you is I can empathize with how he's feeling. I've heard women say, I fear being a nurse or a purse, meaning I fear dating someone older that I might have to take care of, or I have to financially take care of, or physically take care of. Let's face it, for those people in their mid 50s and 60s, the big, gigantic fear is taking care of someone. And for a lot of men, this is a big, gigantic fear. Now, why is this important to know? Because you know what? I'm a believer of having a bit of grace, having a bit of compassion when we judge people. I've had women say to me, oh my God, he made me pay for my valet on a date. What a cheapskate. You know what? That hurts me to hear that kind of judgment. There is a good reason why most people do what they do. And when we actually, like in this particular case, when he shared his truth with her, when he said, let's start in the friend zone so we can build trust with one another, it builds a more solid foundation because you're starting from the heart and not from the grand expectation of romance and so forth. So understand that a lot of men have this real fear centered around the capacity to take care of someone from a financial or resource-based. And this might be the reason why some men, in the case of the person I was speaking of earlier, couldn't fully commit to his partner or to the woman he'd been serious with, because he was afraid, or he is afraid of taking care of her. Folks, is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know if it is. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. There's a link to follow me on Instagram, get all the books I recommend, all listed below. All right, those who know my live format know it's time for Q&A. If you have a question, there's a little chat box there. Write the word question, then post the question there after. Or you can purchase a super sticker, super chat. All the money's from this, there's a little dollar sign there. All the money's from the super sticker, super chat goes to a scholarship fund in the name of my son, Connor Aslay. That's a picture of him right there. That's when we were at Benihana's. He's my son who passed away over 6 years ago. In his honor, we donate to causes like the Hoffman Process Insight Institute and scholarships to coaching as well. And our goal tonight is $50, so I'd appreciate some love. Also, if you want to join the love seat, I call it the love seat now, the tough love seat. In other words, if you want to ask me a question live and on camera, I just posted a link right there. You can click that link and join me live and ask a question directly. All right, I saw a question come in. Gigi says, Jonathan, or Gigi says, question. Today on Facebook, you had a thoughtful post on relationship readiness. Why would a person without resources be dating? Not to pay for me, but no one needs to be playing around without money. Go to work. Okay, that is not what I said, okay? I said he doesn't have the resources to take care of somebody else. That was my point. They have the resources to take care of themselves, but to take care of someone else. So Gigi, let me know you understood that. And if you have a follow-up question based on that, if you're going to come back to me, say, why would anyone date if they couldn't take care of someone else financially? Then my question is, are you willing and capable to fully fund somebody else's life? Okay, because to some degree, that's what the expectation is when we go all in. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on this. But thank you for your question. But no, I simply say they don't have the resources to take care of someone else. All of my resources go to my retirement, so I can retire sooner rather than later. Pamela says, that was a great story and a different way to look at it. I don't mind in the beginning stages paying for a date. I don't know if it makes me masculine or does not make you masculine for, listen, is generosity masculine? Is generosity feminine? Folks, we have to get away from these stupid gender rhetoric. I'm sorry, I'm going to call it stupid. If you haven't read the book, If the Buddha Dated, it throws out all the bullshit gender rhetorics. It is not, it's called generous. Generosity is neither masculine or feminine, okay? Paying for date is neither masculine or feminine. It's just called being a good human being, supporting yourself. That's what it's called. But thank you for that. I appreciate that you appreciated the story. Billy Holt says, men get so tired working their entire lives. Give me minds a treat. I don't get that, but thank you. By the way, Betty wants to say, I saw that post. I didn't take it that way. Yes, I did, everyone. I did a post. Where is it? I'll read it to everyone. Okay. I'll read it. Oh, you might get a kick out of this, everyone. Okay. I'll read this post that I posted on my Instagram and my Facebook page. Bear with me. Okay, here it goes. The post goes like this. On Sunday, a woman messaged me on a dating app, including her number, and we hopped on a call to get acquainted. Shortly into our conversation, she shared with me that her most recent relationship ended 24 hours earlier. I said I'd reach back out to her in 6 months. I've learned through experience that the ending of a relationship, no matter what the circumstances, required a period of grieving. Basically, I'm judging this person's relationship readiness, but that's not the point of this story, because as I look in the mirror, I'm questioning my own relationship readiness. If I'm being honest with myself, I don't think I want a relationship right now, because I've decided to completely revamp my life. More on that in future posts. What I have to share, or what I have, while I have a desire for companionship, connection, and physical intimacy, I'm asking myself if I would open myself up to someone fully as I'm going through a transition period. And I'll share with you, I'm going through a big, gigantic transition period in my life. Dating requires showing up as the best version of oneself, because anything less is unattractive. In addition, dating requires entertaining another, and while I'm in total immersion of growth, I'm less inclined to jump through the traditional narrative of convincing someone to like me. Therefore, while I'm in this space, I think the path to me is how my relationship readiness will emerge. And then I ask, what's your relationship readiness? What I'm basically saying is, as I'm evaluating, I'm going to make some big changes to my YouTube channel. I'm going to make some big changes to the way I coach. I'm in the process of writing a new book. I'm going to go through a transition period, and I just don't have the energy to meet someone, unless it's perfectly aligned. I don't want to go through the traditional narrative of having to go through the whole pomp and circumstance of dating. If I meet someone and it happens to be happenstance and we connect on a friend, I like what that client of mine told me. In fact, this is what I want to do. I want to start in the friend zone with everybody now. Just start in the friend zone. Much like what Lewis Howes did with his now fiance. They literally started in the friend zone for 3 months before they ever really fully committed to a relationship. So if I happen to meet someone that fits that same desire, they don't need me to romance them to feel good about me. That's where I'm at right now. And that's regarding that post. So had nothing to do with money, just happens to be with, I want to revamp my life. All right. Catherine says, I don't expect any man to financially take care of me. No worries for him. I want to always do what he wants to. I want him to always do what he wants from his heart. There you go. Zen Maiden says, why are people so ridiculous? It's about a give and take. No longer can one person, in some cases, expect to take care of both people. It's harder and harder to survive. Why not share expenses? Yeah, there's this, as I was sharing with you before, there's a significant percentage of people that just don't have the resources. Maybe they're paying alimony. Maybe they're paying child support. Whatever it is, there isn't enough resources to go around. And this is an important topic. Cheryl wants to comment. I'm intrigued by the friend zone story. I've had 6 dates with a grower builder, but not feeling any chemistry. With the story you just told, maybe that's okay for now. Hey, my friends Joy Kingsborough and Matt Kahn, or I should say Joy and Matt Kahn, Matt and Joy Kahn. He did an interview where he says, I put everyone in the friend zone until it changes. That's where we should be starting. We need to, at least that's my invitation for everyone. Start from the friend zone perspective and take out all of the romantic rhetoric. That, by the way, if it was working so well, why are people so miserable? If the old way of doing things works so well, why are so many people miserable? How about we start with the heart zone, the friend zone, and build from there? Thank you for Cheryl. I agree. Roller Girl says, Jonathan, you may be going through menopause. I don't know if I'm going through any hormonal change, but I'm certainly going through another hero's journey in my life. And there's many hero's journey we have. Debbie says, do you, Jonathan, work on yourself? That's what you taught me. Yes, I prefer to work on myself, continually improving, continually revamping and tweaking and growing and learning more about myself. That's my MO. Jane Spitfire's in the house. Question, can't two genders be friends first and then fall in love? What do you think of the Golden Bachelorette Jones choices on TV? You know, I think based on the circumstances, I think she's chosen the 4 guys, which now is down to 3 guys that she resonated with the most. Does that mean they're good partners for one another? We have no fucking clue. She has no clue. But what I do know is that in the fantasy suites, there was no beds in the fantasy suites. So she didn't sleep with the guys. So that's a good place to start. That's just my rough thoughts, unless you have more questions on that. Annette, I had a money setback, had been dating a man for 4 months. I told him I needed to back up due to my situation until I got back solid ground. He said, okay, but was hurt and lost trust. Wrong decision? Well, I don't understand the why you ended the relationship. I think you can share where you're at. And people that, care for one another will work around things. But I don't understand why you need to, unless your money setback was going to detract you from being fully engaged in the relationship, which I could understand that's the case. I don't know why he lost trust. He just might have felt that maybe he felt you misled him. I don't know the particulars, but I don't understand unless he felt duped. He invested 4 months of his heart in you, and for you to end the relationship, that can be a bit disheartening, even though you had circumstances. So I suspect that's the case. Catherine wants to piggyback. It's wise to start out on the friend level. That's my approach. No reason to hurry the process. Exactly. And then when you're in the friend zone, you take turns planning and paying for spending time together. That was the point he was making. Hey, I want to give Annika props for the $5 super sticker. Thank you for the love. Joe Daisy says, Jonathan, you're spiritually evolving at a rapid pace. Roller Girl just gave us a $2 super sticker for Connor. Thank you so much. Hey, who wants to join me on the hot seat live or the love seat? The love seat. Please click the link, the one that says Jonathan Asley, not the Jonathan. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. Please click the link. I would love to get one of you live and talk about this important topic of this real fear stops most men from any commitment with you. Annika's back in the house. I love starting from friendship, but wouldn't a guy think he would be put in the friend zone? How to approach this? Great question. Just simply say, hey, look, can we agree that in the beginning stages of getting to know each other, we actually build the friendship? I'm not putting you in the friend zone as if I'm not going to sleep with you, I would prefer that we start from this zone and build upon it. It's how you frame it. It's how you frame it. That's how I would frame it. And if a guy says, hey, if sex is off the table and he's not interested, then you know all he was in it for was the sex. I'm trying to crack my neck. John, when we work on ourselves, it takes bravery. Introspection is hard work, and the improvement takes time and effort. Growing pain sounds like what you're going through. Try new creative outlets. Exactly. Thank you, Bren. Hey, Billy is in the house.
Hi.
Is this the famous Billy Holt?
This is her.
All right. I'm excited to have you on. What are we going to talk about?
I don't know. You said you had a topic.
Well,
about
first off, get your phone so you don't have to hold it anymore. Set it down.
Well, I'm not really dressed, but
okay, then leave it be.
Is that
well,
too much? Is that
okay?
Too much?
Perfect. All right. So, well, why don't you tell me about your love life? Why don't we start there?
My love
Are
life?
you in a relationship with anybody?
No.
Okay. When was your last relationship?
February 12th, 2022.
22. And how long were you two together?
Like almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years. And how did you two meet?
We met on a dating website.
Which dating website?
No.
Come on, tell me.
It was Plenty of Fish. I met
Plenty of Fish. That's okay. Plenty of Fish is the bottom of the barrel. I'm just kidding. Okay. So, Billy, why did your relationship end?
Because I told him that I was physically there, but I wasn't present.
Interesting. So what does that mean, you weren't present?
Is this thing doing it right? Okay. I'm sorry. It means that I wasn't in a position. Like he's ready. He's all set. He's ready to have a relationship. And I had been having problems. I had a lot of problems, and I didn't want to burden him with my problems.
Okay, so I'm going to assume how far apart did the two of you live?
We did live about 20 minutes, and now we live about 2 miles.
Okay, 2 miles. So he's close by. Okay, so you ended the relationship because you felt you couldn't fully give yourself into the relationship. Is that right?
I more or less destroyed the relationship because I couldn't be what he wanted, and I didn't know how to respond. I didn't know how to, you know what I mean? So I kind of like sabotaged it. I destroyed it.
Okay, let's talk about then. So let's talk about, when did you begin sabotaging the relationship?
Probably 6 months in.
6 months in. So you guys were together 2 years, and 6 months in, for a year and a half, you were sabotaging the relationship. Why don't you explain to everyone, what did that look like to sabotage the relationship?
Okay. I didn't my mind wasn't there. I couldn't explain why I had done things I had done, and
Can you give an example of something you did?
Let's see, what did I do? I was quiet. I was very quiet. I listened, and I waited.
Okay.
Instead of asserting who I was, because that's what he wanted. He wanted to know who I was. He didn't want me to, like you say, lay back in my feminine energy. He didn't. I don't think he wanted that. He wanted to know who I was as a person, and what I was capable of doing, stuff like that, instead of just observing and being passive. And
so I want to clarify something, because first off, being passive is neither, or pulling away is neither masculine or feminine. It's just unhealthy behavior. Let me reframe that. in the context of the container of a relationship, when a person becomes passive, they start pulling away emotionally, they start emotionally being constipated or unavailable. I guess the real question is, how fair is that to another person? And hold that thought for a second, Billy. Many women come to me, Jonathan, the man is pulling away. He's being passive. He's not being, very emotionally available. And these women feel shortchanged. They feel duped. They feel used. So, how do you think he was feeling while you were doing this?
Like he wasn't important. Like
Yeah.
like he wasn't important. And I was being selfish by not communicating. Like, I wasn't I just had a lot of stuff going on, and I couldn't figure it out. And
Yeah.
so like it ended, and all that time it's ended, I have worked on myself.
Okay.
I've worked on myself. I've made great strides,
Okay.
and I miss him, but I can't like control him. I can't tell him what to do, you know.
Okay, so I want to first off thank you for that vulnerability, because it takes a lot of courage to be on the hot seat here. I certainly could blast you for your behavior because let me just share this for the benefit of men and women listening to this. You know, women complain about men all day long about being emotionally unavailable, passive, pulling away. They complain about men all day long, and they point the finger at men being bad. And you had the courage to say, "Look, we women do this too. We
Yeah.
women do this too." Now, I suspect what was going on inside of you is as much as you so relationship readiness requires relationship readiness, your desire, your capacity, and your vision for commitment has to exceed your fears and pains from the past. The fear. So if you have a fear or a pain from the past, it's going to affect, it might not affect your desire, but it certainly could affect your capacity. And what I'm hearing from you is you didn't have, while you desired companionship, you desired connection with them. I'm assuming you desired physical intimacy, but you didn't have the capacity to go all in. You didn't have it because your pain exceeded your fears, or excuse me, exceeded your desires. In other words, your fears and pains exceeded your desires. And what you did is what so many men do. And I'm just pointing this out because any men that are watching this, look, women do this too. We men don't deserve all the blame. Women have to take ownership as well. As you sabotage the relationship.
Yeah.
That wasn't very fair to him. He built trust with you. He built an attachment towards you. He built affection towards you.
Yeah, he did.
So why not tell us what happened when you broke up, and where did the two of you stand right now?
What happened?
Yeah, what exactly ended it? How did you end it? Or did he end it?
I think he ended it.
How did he end it?
He just stopped talking to me.
Hmm.
I would it seemed like I was fake, you know what I mean? Like I was spreading myself thin,
Okay.
and he could see that. And that's not what
Okay.
he wants. He
Okay.
wants all in, he wants all that. And I just had all this stuff going on, and I guess I was placating him, and that's kind of insulting.
Hmm.
Um how did he end it? He just stopped talking to me, and I reached out to him a few times, and he said, "Don't talk to me anymore." He said he didn't
Hmm.
want me to talk to him anymore.
Okay. Was that
So,
fair of him to say that?
I, I I'm not surprised because of how I was. I'm not
Yeah.
surprised, how I was, but I learned and I changed.
Okay,
And
so let's talk about that for a moment. But anyone who's in the chat box right now, if you have a question for Billy or I on this conversation, please post a question. I would welcome a conversation here. So Billy, you said you've been doing some work on yourself since the ending of the relationship. Why don't you elaborate on that work that you've done for yourself?
I at the time I wasn't doing anything. Now I have my LLC. I
Okay.
have 4 DBAs. I'm
Okay.
in I'm in college. I'm studying for my doctorate
Oh,
degree
okay, great.
in communications.
Okay.
And
You
I
need to
know,
work
right?
on that. Here,
I make
by the
good
way,
grades.
here,
Yeah.
read this book, Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg.
Yeah. Um and I was injured. I was an injured person and I was on a lot of medications. I'm off all the medications. I work out. I swim. I'm working on becoming a professional mermaid. That's one of my
Okay.
DBAs, so an entertainer kind of person.
Okay.
And I've, done applications. I'm gonna start a internship in November for tax, through the IRS tax prepare
Okay.
work.
By the way, Patricia wants to know, are you in a good place to date now?
I don't think so. I
Oh,
I, I yeah, I tried. I went on dating sites, but everybody just wants sex. Sex, 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 sex.
everybody. No, that's not true. It's not everybody.
Every guy I talked to, I would talk to him and do like you taught me.
Okay.
Find out like what was their childhood like. What was your last relationship like?
So,
Why
well,
did it end?
let's go back to this question from Patricia. Are you in a good place today? So, there's a difference between men. Okay, you said men only want sex, but the question is, are you in a good place to date?
I did meet a guy. We went out for coffee. He didn't talk to me after that.
That's not wait, you're not answering the question.
Am I in a good place to date?
Yeah.
I suppose if it was a couple times a week, but I'm really
Okay,
really
you're still
busy.
not at okay. Are you emotional? Let me reframe it. Are you
Yes,
emotionally capable of being in a relationship? That's really the question.
yes,
Okay.
yes. If they can put up with me being busy, because yes,
So
I'm ready.
Diane wants to know, I hope there's a time you will come that you can come together. Is it possible to revisit the relationship with that man?
I think about it all the time. I I I, I don't want to piss him off. I don't want to you know do something I shouldn't do. He posted on Facebook that his dog died,
Okay.
and I thought, oh my god, because I knew the dogs. He has 3 dogs,
Yeah.
and I went to the store. I bought some bones for the
Okay.
other dogs. For the other dogs,
Okay.
I went to his house. He flipped out on me. He flipped on me. He said, "Don't come here. I don't want you here." And
Okay.
so somebody was there, and
So
I
he
gave.
was so he is still very hurt at the ending of your relationship and he
I,
needs space.
I guess if that's what it is, I don't know
Well, what other
because
what I mean, unless he's dating someone else.
I don't think he is. I don't
Okay.
I don't think
Well,
he
you live
is.
2 miles away. Have you stalked him yet?
Yeah, I stalk him all the time.
Oh, you do stalk him all the time. Well, you know what? You joined the club of just being human. Okay.
I just drive by his house. I don't do anything else. I don't,
Okay.
you know,
All right. So, why do
because
you watch my YouTube channel?
I learn. I learn. I remember you saying something about you were into statistics, that you use
Okay.
statistics. That's my that's kind of my forte, statistics.
Actually, well, most of the statistics I share are anecdotal, so they're not necessarily valid statistics. But I don't believe you are following me because of statistics. Why are you following this channel? What are you hoping to glean from listening?
I learn about relationships. Statistics are
Okay.
about relationships.
How so?
Because that's what statistics is. You study the relationships between variables.
Okay, so how does that okay, so how does relationships and statistics fit in this? Okay, so what statistic are you looking at within the context of my videos? I'm curious.
Um, the statistics of dating on from websites, like dating websites, and the
Yeah.
kind of people that are on dating websites versus the old way of having relationships.
So, okay, so the statistic being that we now a significant percentage of couples are meeting through an online medium versus the old-fashioned way. By the way, the old-fashioned way used to be church, it used to be family, it used to be friends, it used to be work environment, it used to be bars, it used to be grocery stores. All of those now individually are each less than 5%, each one of those. But online dating or online connections now represent 65%, give or take.
Yeah,
So that is an interesting statistic. But there's beyond the statistic, do you desire to be in a relationship?
I do. I do. Um, I just want. I'm so worried about doing it wrong. You know what I mean? Like I did before. Like I
So
don't
let
want to
me
do it
ask you a
wrong.
question. I'm worried about doing it wrong. Do me a favor, put your hand on the heart, on your heart. And I invite you to going forward saying, everything I do comes from my heart. Say it.
Ev-
Everything I do comes from my heart.
Everything I do does come from my heart. Yes.
I cannot, if it's sincere and from the heart, if it's sincere and from the heart,
If it's sincere and from the heart,
I can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
I can't say the wrong thing to the right person.
Say it again. If it's sincere and from the heart,
If it's sincere and from the heart, I cannot say
I,
the wrong thing to the right person.
exactly. So I want you to know that living from a heart space, living in your authenticity, living in embodying your empowerment that you've been working on yourself for these last few years. You've been really working on healing and you've been working on improving your professional life and all these things. If you operate from a sincere and heart level space, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Can I get an amen?
Amen. Amen. Yeah.
Well, Billy, thank you for having the bravery of being on. I really appreciate it.
Okay.
Can I give you a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug?
Yes, you can. Okay.
All right. Thanks for being on. I appreciate you.
All right. Bye.
Bye now. You know, Billy was brave to come on and share her story. She was sincere by sharing that she sabotaged a relationship. You see, women equally can sabotage a relationship just like a man. She did it because fear of commitment, the fear of opening up, the fear of being vulnerable, fear what caused her to ruin possibly a really good relationship. It's hard to say. Now, it is sad that he wasn't open to talking to her. When people get hurt after the ending of the relationship, it can cause a rift that oftentimes rarely can ever be repaired. Sadly, he couldn't be in a space of forgiveness, but she seems like she's in a good place. But let me reiterate this. When our fears exceed our desire, our capacity, and our vision for commitment, when fear and pain exceeds it, our capacity to fully be all in a relationship becomes marginalized, diminished, or actually, in this particular case, cause pain to another human being. And sadly, we have a lot of emotionally immature, no disrespect to Billy, emotionally immature people with poor relationship skills out in the dating marketplace. Hence why she's frustrated right now. But I certainly want to give her a lot of props for coming on here and sharing from her heart. And as I said to her, if it's sincere and from the heart, going forward, she can't say the wrong thing to the right person. Can I get another amen? Hey, I'd like to hear your thoughts on what I just shared with her. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And also, if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me and all that good stuff. Hey, Debbie wants to say, Thank you, Jonathan and Billy. Jahala says, well done, Billy. I've been there. Yeah, people have been there. Bren says, that's really beautiful, John. Amen from Roller Girl. Amen from Jerry. Amen from Patricia. All right. Hey, let's see if there's any other questions before we wrap up tonight. Hey, by the way, tonight I'm doing a sound bowl. I'm doing sound bath and microdose and sound bath. It's a 2.5 hour experience and also includes techno music as well. It is at a couple's house that's lived very near me. I'm so excited to do a sound bath. They are, if you've never done one, I can't begin to tell you. Do me a favor, Google sound baths in your area. You can find a lot of people in the yoga industry do this. It's an amazing experience. The vibration, the frequency, the energy is so off the charts amazing. I can't begin to tell you how really precious doing sound baths can be. So I highly recommend checking it out. And that Paul says, nice sound bath. Debbie says, yay, Jonathan. Thank you so much. All right. VR. How do I stop always asking myself, there's maybe something better? How can I stop telling or asking myself? Well, it sounds like you're setting up expectations. And as I said earlier, expectations are the mother of disaster and desperation is her twin sister. So I would just let go of expectations and simply say, I'm open and receptive to all good things that come to my life. I am open and receptive to I'm open and receptive to all things that come to my life. By the way, sometimes things that aren't good, folks, many of you know I went through a significant breakup over a year ago. It was very painful, but through this pain, I grew tremendously. Through the pain, I've able to heal years and years of wounds within myself. So sometimes, all we have to say is I'm open and receptive to all things that happen in my life for my betterment. Okay. Joe Daisy wants to say plant therapy. Exactly. I love sound bowl work. Enjoy the sound bath. Someone else had something here. Oh, KNBC or KCBNC. Cool for microdose. Not sure about techno music. It's actually, he's got a synthesizer that just takes the music to this psychedelic Pink Floyd kind of level. If you're not familiar with Pink Floyd, it's that level of psychedelic music. So Zen Maiden says, damn, Jonathan, love sound bath. Definitely don't drive after the shrooms. It's a microdose. It's not that big of a deal. Joe Daisy says, thank you, Jonathan. I can't wait to see what sound bath is all about. By the way, when I do my Halloween video, I'll talk to you about it there. All right, let's keep going here. Power of Chi says, question. Have you seen this season of Love is Blind? It's hot mess. So much passive aggressive emotional abuse. Yes, I have. That blonde gal and the ex-football player. Oh my God. I can only imagine what a gigantic, scary thing it would have been to date her. But that's just and by the way, he was passive as well. So Joe Daisy wants to remind us of Pink Floyd. Way to go. Hey, folks, I've got to get ready for the sound bath, so I'm going to end this video right now. Did you find value in this gigantic fear most men experience centered around, most men and women have a gigantic fear centered around the resources it takes to take care of someone? This is a very real fear, and it doesn't make anyone bad. And let me just be clear. They can take care of themselves. They can't take care of someone else. And guess what? Commitment is all about, for richer, for poorer, sickness and health. We're going to be in it together. And so I just wanted to draw attention to that and allow you to metabolize that and maybe look at men slightly different than you have before. Is this sinking in? Is this resonating with you? Please let me know if it is. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, hit that like button, share this video, subscribe to my channel, hit that notification bell, and don't forget to hit the notification bell on your phone as well. Also, if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me. See if working with a coach is right for you. There's a link to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. There's a link to follow me on Instagram and all that good stuff as well. All right, I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Barrick of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, a pet, a teddy bear, a pillow. Give it or them a hug of love because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. I want to thank Diane and Joe Daisy and Power of Chi and Catherine and Beach Lover and Maria, Patricia, Natty's, Roller Girl, Debbie, Karen, Betty, Zen Maiden, I think I said that, KCBNCBs, Annette Paul. Did I say Gigi? And Billy Holt, thanks for being on. We appreciate you. Bren, everyone, big hugs. Thanks so much. Wishing you a wonderful evening. Bye now.